Since this is Saga Dawa, Saga Dawa day. Saga Dawa is the whole month, and this 15th of the full moon day is the peak of Saga Dawa. So, since I'm touching on this topic, I thought I might touch on some cultural aspects of it, and then bring it down to what I think is essential to me to be reminded of, and hopefully by extension could be of help to you also as co-journeyers on this journey to enlightenment. If we were to be in Dharamsala and before the pandemic pandemic time, then we would be today at the peak of a ongoing consecration practice of Mani Rilpu, Mani pills, which would have gone 24 hours without break. And that means monks and nuns from different monasteries in the area being deputed to fill in the time until it is daybreak, when everybody else will join. And this would have then gone for 15 days. And today will be the peak of it, when His Holiness would have come and presided over the ceremony of consecrating the Mani Rilpus. And this being the 15th day, by this time, Mani Rilpu, by the way, is blessed pills, very small pills, put in sacks, mainly yellow sacks of different sizes, but some big sizes. But to begin with, they would be hardly filled, but over the time, when the consecration happens with the recitation preceded by the rituals, whatnot, at least to us converts, we see the sacks gradually filling up, and even the pills spilling over. Now you will see pills everywhere. You have to be careful not to step on them even. At least that's the observation of everyone. So that would have been one thing to see this day, plus getting His Holiness the Dalai Lama's audience and also presiding over the ceremony. But then, outside the temple, so the temple will be spilling out, right, with people. It doesn't seem like this is happening this year, because last night we saw His Holiness teaching in the temple, and we didn't see even any signs of Mani Rilpus around. So I suspect it might have been either cancelled or maybe happening at a smaller scale somewhere. But then outside the temple, the roads will be lined up with beggars who have come maybe months ago, or at least at the beginning of this month, and lining up. Most of them sadly lepers from all over the country. All over the country, they would come one way or the other. So sometimes in the Indian system, the very, very poor ones, particularly the lepers, beggars, they could travel without ticket. But anyhow, some from so far away places would have come. The reason why I know this is we get to chat with them. We used to get to chat with them at night, because it will be very close to our temple, and at night they will be sleeping by the roadside, making their food, all of them, like that, and even telling us how much they have made that day, etc. So not just individuals would be doling out rupees and whatnot, but institutions would also be rallying in this service of making food, etc., including dialectic school, where we would make rice and dal and be providing them. By the way, as a sidetrack, rice and dal, particularly the yellow dal and rice, the white rice, it's like a staple food in India when we were in schools and also into the monasteries. And it was so at the Gyute monastery before it has moved to Dharamsala area. And that used to be very frequent. So when the monks would speak to each other, what is the food today? They would speak of it, what do you call it? Euphemistically. Oh, today is Sona Chandi, gold and silver. Today we have gold and silver for food. The same old gold and silver, yet gold and silver, very precious. Anyway, that was just a sidetrack. So then outside, people will be spilling into the street to visit the temple. Mostly the lay people will be honoring the day, typical auspicious spiritual days by coming with butters, oils, like that, to fill in the butter lamps, drop, or else visit the temple and offer khatas and do their prostrations, all of that. But speaking of prostration, and that day being the Saga Dawa, the auspicious day, the most auspicious day, because that's when Buddha's 3 major life events happened on the same day, that of his birth, of his enlightenment, and of his parinirvana, of his passing away. So that's the reason why at the dialectic school we would have our usual morning prostrations, whatnot, and then the evening we would have Saw, Lama Chopa Saw. And the Lama Chopa Saw will be on that very day very sumptuous, rich. Each one would get this filled Saga Saw. But being Saga Dawa, everybody would have taken the 8 Mahayana precepts. So they can't touch. And plus, it was a custom and it was kind of an inspiration to see others doing it as well in the daytime, that we as monks and being in the temple area would have this privilege of now the circumambulation road being open to us, right? Everybody would have left. So we would do prostrations, full-length prostration around the whole Tulakam. I did it twice, and I have not grown from then. So that means I had done so much more prostrations than the taller guys, but still I persisted. Oh, the whole, and it's so rough, water, mud, everything. And you would almost, some kind of a scrape here, although some would go very prepared by making make-do gloves, so not ready-made, trademarked gloves, but make-do gloves from their old monastic robes, whatnot. So they would do that. So even after completing the prostrations, which would be way past midnight, very quiet, everyone would have been asleep. Even after that, we may take a shower, or maybe so tired to just what do you call that? Just throw yourself on the bed, and then the first thing in the morning, when the sun rises, your hand goes to where you would think Sok was. So you had Sok the other day, and you had Sok the other day also. The one day was Sok, the proper Sok as a ceremony. The other day was Sok as an eatable. So you begin the days differently, but nonetheless with Sok. Okay, so there will be so much to say about the cultural things happening, but this should do as a typical kind of a sample of what could be happening, and imagine being in the monasteries or in the settlement camps, etc., etc. People will be streaming into the monasteries and doing that. So for the lay people, mostly, that would be their part of celebrating it. But for the monastics, it would be, at the bigger monasteries, it would be reciting the major classical texts, full-length classical texts. But one experience that I found very strange in Jepung was when they gather for such recitation, long recitation of the major monastic texts, maybe out of courtesy, out of sense of the need by someone who is at the who is a staff around, they may care to distribute toffees. As soon as the toffees are distributed, the recitation range goes way down. And I would always used to think that that's not a good idea. I should say something. But I didn't ever had the courage to do that. Because maybe some people needed it, right? Who needed to kind of really carry out the recitation, particularly those in the monastic choir. I didn't make to the monastic choir. I can't do the oh thing like that. Anyway, so typically evenings will be talk days and the mornings will be recitation. Of course, the sojong will be there, the confessional ceremony. Confession we always mostly do, only it's almost fixed that we do it in the morning, unless there is a special reason why it could be done at some other part of the day. So that said, how do we celebrate this? How do we understand Buddha's birth, Buddha's passing away, particularly Buddha's enlightenment? Did he really become enlightened? These are things that we as serious practitioners need to raise to ourselves and be true to ourselves in aspiring for achieving what we say, full enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. When we say for the sake of all sentient beings in that tune, or to benefit all sentient beings, we should have a specific idea of what do we really mean benefit. The benefit ranges, could have a big range, but it definitely should include at least good rebirth and liberation and enlightenment for them. So how sincere are we? How backed up we are, how informed we are in terms of the possibility of an enlightenment, first for oneself, so that one could enlighten others. So this is the time to really reflect what it might have felt like to be enlightened. Did it happen this way? Even given this very life that we know of Buddha in history, was that an easy journey or not? And can we get away with an easy journey? Can we get away in a luxurious way, whereas Buddha had to take the very, very, very hard way? So those are questions that we need to ask, and also kind of sink deeper into these questions of, I aspire this, how is this possible? What does the mechanism look like? And in this regard, in the Dhammapada, the verse, the stanza 154, they usually point to that stanza as reflecting Buddha's enlightenment. The stanza does come up in reply to someone. I think it was Thera Ananda asking Buddha what was his enlightenment experience like. So Buddha then got to share this. But whether it is enlightenment as in Buddhahood, or is it just referring to nirvana, I'm not so sure. But this is what you find in Dhammapada. It says, and I'm just reading stanza 154, not 153 and 54 together. Otherwise, usually they are done together. And in the Dhammapada itself also, it comes as one episode. So in the stanza 154, it says, "O house builder, you are seen. Oh, now I see you. Don't build any house for me anymore. No need. All your rafters are broken, your roof tree destroyed. My mind has reached the unconditioned. The end of craving has been attained. So no need for any more houses for me." So it's like having crushed the craving. It has cut down the whole series of other things, ripple effects it would have otherwise provided, it would have otherwise led to. And thus there is no more rebirth under the condition of afflictions and actions induced by them. Instead, Buddha has reached the state of unconditioned. Now, from a Tibetan Buddhist perspective, we go little differently. I'm being political, right? Diplomatic. we go a little differently. Yes, of course, craving is one of the main reasons what keeps us anchored, stuck to samsara. By the way, it is samsara. I'm not going to joke here. It is samsara, not only for some, but for everyone. So it is everyone's sara. Anyway, so in the Tibetan Buddhist context, we say that the mechanism of full awakening can be fully understood, of course, by building understanding gradually, but until one has understood the nature of the high and the subtlest, clearer mind, and that of its accompanying amount of the subtle energy, one cannot explain fully the possibility of enlightenment, as well as the possibility of the so-called the four bodies of the Buddha. And last night, His Holiness went 2-3 times emphatically on this very particular topic of Sungju. And Sungju, which is union or integration of what? Of Kutu Sungju, of body and mind conjoined. And it is referred otherwise as Tenyi Sungju, the integration or the union of the two truths. But not two truths in the way we usually understand. Here, each truth refers specifically to the two components of this union. One being the subtlest energy, which is the conventional truth, and the other, its accompanying never separating from it a component of the subtlest clear mind, which is referred to as the ultimate truth. So although the structure is kind of laid out early on, but the full explanation and understanding which comes not until then. So one has to push through that, and that way, real enlightenment would become at least conceptually possible. That's how one has to begin with, then eventually build it down to emotionally and viscerally feel that it is possible. And that's something that I personally work on. When I have to aspire for this, I have to have some kind of a justification that how can you say this is possible? I should have at least some idea. That's what I'm working on. And last night, His Holiness was very kind in almost speaking to me by bringing it up twice and dwelling on it at length. And so in between these two, I wanted to always share this episode that happened between Domtumpa, the Katam master Domtumpa and Potowa, when Domtumpa was approached by Potowa and asked about what is the dividing line between Dharma and non-Dharma. So, as spiritual co-seekers, particularly steeped in the practice of Dharma, we should be very clear about the line between Dharma and non-Dharma, and which I have no doubt that you all have very clearly laid out. Yet I felt that this is the occasion to remind ourselves of this, and maybe this is a good segue to do that. So when asked about this, Domtumpa came up with these four lines, four two-liners. But this is my own translation. It may not be that good. It says, if it serves as antidote to afflictions, it is Dharma. If it doesn't, not just doesn't, but it instead sustains it, then it is non-Dharma. Second one is, if it doesn't align with worldly concerns, it is Dharma. If it does, it is non-Dharma. Third is, if it is in accord with the canonical scriptures, not just hearsays, but canonical scriptures, which are like the highways, right? Which are like the main kind of authority. If it does not align with the worldly, if it is in accord with the canonical scriptures, it is Dharma. If it is not, if it ain't, and then it is not, then it is non-Dharma. And then the last one is, if it leaves a good or positive imprint in your mind stream, it is Dharma. It's very likely Dharma. If it leaves a negative imprint, then it is non-Dharma. So, with this, I'm now going to stop here with my favorite lines from Gampopa, known as the Gampopa's Four Dharmas, which I really like and are very, very helpful, reminding that I always recite every morning, which means, which could be expressed in various forms as aspirations, as prayers, as mere statements. Let me put them in aspirational form. May my Dharma stay as Dharma, which shows that what you think is Dharma may not actually be Dharma, right? And so this is very important, that what you perform as Dharma stays as Dharma, or it truly proves it out as Dharma. And after that, may my Dharma succeed on the path. Now here it brings, the first one is getting rid of the worldly concern, not mixed with worldly concern. The second one is to bring in the wisdom of emptiness. The success of the Dharma on the path, not just to just keep coming back into the samsara, but cutting through it, is assured by this wisdom of understanding emptiness. So that's what will ensure success on the path in practicing Dharma. if all one does in the form of Dharma is not supported by means by which it could eventually lead oneself out of the loop, then we would just be bumping up and down within the loop into the balloon and will not be ever be successful. And then the third one is, may the path be cleared of confusion. Now here it could be either a confusion or wrong choice, and it means, may, while I succeed in cutting through the root of the samsara with the help of the wisdom and the Dharma going on the track, may I not be sidetracked by self-centeredness, self-cherishing attitude. Rather, may I be guided by altruism. May I make the right choice of altruism so that it will take my journey even further and across all afflictions, across all obscurations. So that's, may my path be cleared of confusion in choosing what should be the main driving force, either self-liberation or enlightenment for all this, for the sake of all sentient beings. And then the last one is, may confusion dawn as wisdom. In the midst of, now this, I use the term confusion, even in the Tibetan also it uses the same term, tuba, but I think they mean differently. Here confusion may be a whole bigger what you call baggage, including all the conceptualities. So from within this mix of conceptuality, may I be able to utilize them and maneuver them in such a way that the conceptuality thins out and eventually pure wisdom dawns. And that is in relation specifically to the clear light mind combined with the emptiness as its object. Because that will ensure not just success across the whole journey to enlightenment, but it will do so, make it possible quicker.